time to bring the action north of the border. Set to go with these passionate Canadian fans on a beautiful day. And the Indy 500 champion and defending series champion on the front row. Set to go in Canada, the one time. Let's go, and it's Pagenaud with that inside line. Rosenquist is trying to defend from Rossi. Rossi locks up. And Dixon into second, no problem there.
Big lock up by Rossi, but he got through there clean ahead of Rosenquist. Rosenquist now looking on the inside as they go down the lakeshore. They're going to fan out. This is going to be the problem area. Rossi making a move on Dixon on the outside.
This is where the trouble could start. Turn 3 brake zone. Rossi to the outside of Dixon. Can he make it stick? No, he's got to back off. Now Rosenquist will have a look as Hunter Ray tries to shove his way in that yellow DHL car up the middle.
That was Zach Veach going around the outside. Ed Jones on the inside of Rosenquist. Newgarden there.
Sato and Bourdais side by side.
Sato goes for the inside. I thought they touched almost there. James Hinchcliffe has contact.
That's Marco Andretti. And Hinch was able to get away with it. Marco's got maybe have some front nose damage. Inside is Power.
Oh, that's not going to work.
Andretti's gone around.
What a move by Andretti. He did a complete 360.
Ericsson, Matthias Lace caught up in that.
Look at Power and Rahal arguing with their hands.
That was way over optimistic by Power. He saw the door open, but he was down the inside in the dirty part of the track. And
I don't know,
3
Paul.
wide is not going to work.
I don't think that was overly optimistic. He had position there, but it relied on Rahal to leave him room, and Rahal was having none of it.
He stalled it now. Power getting it in reverse, and now all these guys are stalled. Matthias Lace tried to get away and stalled it, and he might lose a lap here very easily.
Power got kind of locked in with Rahal, and I think tried to gun the throttle to push him off, and it didn't work, and the two of them went sliding into the barriers.
Well, these guys right here are going to lose a lap, and here's the replay coming here. I think he was a little bit over optimistic. He made a move down in 3 that was pretty sketchy, and look, he gets a run right here, and he's just slices down the inside, and he just wasn't there.
Well, he was from way back. I'd agree with that, but the other problem is that Rahal was taking a look on Marco Andretti, who had suffered so effectively. They were 3 wide.
Watch Marco.
2.5 wide.
Marco does a complete 360, boots it, brings the front end around.
That was a sweet move. And the yellow's out, so effectively the field's frozen there. So Marco should be in front of Colton Herta on the restart. We ride on board with Graham Rahal. Watch, Graham goes to the inside of Marco. I just don't think Graham knew that Power was coming from that far back either.
They're both giving each other the hand gestures.
I'm not sure about that Colton Herta, Marco Andretti thing, because it was only a local yellow at that stage. Full course hadn't been thrown. Well, we'll see. We'll find out.
Looks good here, Marco. I think we're fine. We're okay here.
All right. Bummer.
Yeah, it's Toronto. Long race, though. We can recover. We got a good car here.
That is the calming and educated and experienced voice of Brian Herta. Coming back to green. Let's see if we can string a few laps together here. Let's go racing in Toronto. Pagenaud at the front.
Big old wiggle for Scott Dixon coming onto the front straightaway as he tries to get the tires cleaned up and ready for battle. We'll see if he has a chance to make a run on Pagenaud on the back straightaway, but I think Pagenaud is looking pretty strong right now, Paul, on this restart.
Absolutely, got a nice restart. Dixon right there, though. They pulled a little bit of a gap to Rossi. Rosenquist is right there. Oh, Ed Jones pops out. Nice pass.
Poor Felix Rosenquist napping. That was awesome work from the driver from Dubai.
I like that out of Ed Jones. I don't feel like he has the quickest car on race pace, so he knows he's got to make his work early and try to make track position, because I think Rosenquist is probably better over the stint.
By the way, that used to be his ride, that number 10 Ganassi car. So he's going to say, I can still show you what I can do.
Further back, Newgarden, that Hitachi car, and Sebastian Bourdais looking very racy in the number 18.
New color scheme for Sebastian this weekend. Local sponsor Mauser Molex. Car looks great. He's been driving great. He's been fast. All bar that altercation with Takuma Sato. It's been a great weekend for the Frenchman.
And right behind Sebastian Bourdais in that blue and white number 30 is Takuma Sato. And you saw it in the pre-race. Those guys were going at it, clinching each other's helmets, shoving each other. Lots of words and war flying yesterday in practice, and if Sato can get close, he's going to be on full attack, because I think he's still pretty furious at the treatment he got from Bourdais.
He's a very good breaker. He's very light and small, and he's terrific on the brakes. He makes a lot of moves in the brake zone, so watch these two. This is going to be a good battle throughout the race.
Biggest mover in these early couple of laps, Tony Kanaan, has made up 8 positions from his starting spot. TK is up to 14th, still some work to do, but he figures he has a top 10 car. We'll see what he can do later today.
Pulled a 2-second gap already on Rossi. I wonder if he flat spotted his tires on that first corner. He had him locked up, Townsend, really good going into 1, and I wonder if he's damaged those tires.
Biggest mover so far, Tony Kanaan, up 8 positions since the start. He obviously benefited from the accident. There he is in the 14 car, that ABC Supply. Zach Veach is behind him. Veach got checked up. We rode on board with Ferrucci as Ferrucci got by Veach. But Tony Kanaan has the start that he needed in 14th position, his car number 14. And now look at this.
Piggott, Colton Herta, the two youngsters, turn 3.
Nice pass.
Piggott was so far over against the wall that there was all that dirt and dust that's accumulated as Marco Andretti's taking a look.
Oh, here we go, side by side in the sweeper. Marco had the preferred line. They touched. There might be wing damage on the front of Colton's car.
Maybe a right rear flat for Marco Andretti too, because those end fences are awfully sharp on the tires. It looks like Marco's okay for now.
I wonder what Brian thought of that.
Exactly.
This guy who's running Marco's radio is Colton's dad. He's on hot tires. Rossi was able to gobble up Newgarden. He'll pull a gap here as we get down to 3. But now is the danger zone for the leader, Simon Pagenaud. If it goes yellow, all these guys will cycle out in front of him. Piggott on the outside of his teammate and runs him wide. That's not very nice.
That was dirty, and now there's wing damage to the right front wing of Spencer Piggott, and he will not appreciate that. And you can hear him. He just drove me into the wall.
Felix Rosenquist in from the top 5.
I think you got to bring Pagenaud in right now. It's too gnarly out there.
This is when accidents happen on cold tires. Everybody's coming in, getting off of the reds.
Jan?
Bourdais finishing up again. The fuel delivered for these cars, because they're coming in early, is so quick. It really puts the emphasis on the crews. Nice job here for Bourdais.
Pit lane snakes around in serpentine-like fashion. It's a really complex pit lane. Newgarden on the inside of Rosenquist. Well placed, good positioning.
Hot tires for Newgarden, cold tires for Rosenquist. The question mark is going to be, what do Dixon and Pagenaud do? He's got a 5-second lead right now on Dixon, and a big gap now because everybody else is pitted.
Oh, Bourdais lost a spot there to Spencer Piggott. Here, the race leader's in. And they're taking the reds off, putting used blacks on for race leader Simon Pagenaud. Full load of fuel, down and away. Scott Dixon in as well. Firestone Blacks going on his race car. He pits from 2nd, and they will fill him full of fuel as well and send him on his way as well. Dixon's been able to clear Sage Karam.
That's big. Gives himself a little bit of a buffer now to Alexander Rossi. Further back side by side, Piggott with Bourdais.
Broken wing, and he might end up with another one on the other side if he try to go side by side through there. Hingetown comes up the inside, slices it down there.
Turn 5.
That was very bold from Hinchcliffe, but he made it work.
That's further back in the pack. He's grabbed 14th place, James Hinchcliffe. Not exactly where he wants to be running in his home race, but a long way to go. 66 laps remain.
Be interesting to see how long that wing hangs on. It's going to be a huge penalty to change that wing. But that was a good pass by Hinchcliffe. He timed it perfectly right when he getting up the hill, but got the power down.
Here it is. He sets him up. Piggott's trying to defend. Hinchcliffe just sends it right up the inside.
If I'm Piggott, I just keep going on that wing until it breaks off, because the penalty to change it on a pit stop or come in and change it is going to ruin the race for him, and he's still running in a decent position.
Here we see the move again from Hinchcliffe. Rossi just got around Sage Karam. Now he can resume his pursuit of Scott Dixon.
Karam is not pitted yet, but this is a good opportunity for him to run with the leaders and get used to what the pace is. Right now he's running in 7th, but he still needs to pit, as Newgarden is now on the back of Karam. He's right there with Dixon, just can't seem to close that gap down close enough to be able to utilize the push to pass.
Dixon's kind of trying to work on Hunter Ray up in front. Hunter Ray pitted on lap 3 with that accident. He's trying to hang on and run as long as he can, try to get lucky on a yellow. It would take a lot for Hunter Ray to be able to make it without doing an additional stop. So Dixon really needs to figure out a way around, because I think Rossi is going to be very much a part of his aggravation here shortly.
And it's not only Ryan Hunter-Reay on that strategy. Graham Rahall's on the same, Santino Ferrucci's on the same, and Zach Veach has not even pitted yet. He still runs outright second. This is Colton Herta. Thought something may have been going on with the Harding-Steinbrenner driver. Let's have a look here. What do we see?
He's got a banner wrapped up off the wing, so he's brushed the wall somewhere and pulled one of the banners off of the concrete wall. And if that ends up in the radiator, that will overheat the car right away.
Luckily, it looks like most of it's gone. There's a small piece still strapped in the right side A-arm.
Got to be on the track somewhere, right?
The other thing is that can block either a brake duct or, as you said, the rad inlet. It can also disrupt the downforce to the under tray, the floor of the car, which needs clean airflow to produce maximum downforce and the most efficient drag.
Boasting a new principal sponsor for this weekend, Capstone Turbine Corporation. Heard an interesting whisper this weekend, fellas, about Colton Herta, the youngest ever to win an IndyCar race. A lot of interest, phone calls being made about this young man, not necessarily within the IndyCar community. Is that interest from Europe?
Well, I would think so, because obviously Pato Award, we were sad to see him go off to the Red Bull Junior Formula. He's in Japan right now, actually raced last night. But
14.
These guys were very hot competitors against each other. Colton has been so fast this year that there's got to be a lot of people looking at him around the globe.
Simon Pagenaud leads Zach Veach, Santino Ferrucci, Graham Rahal, Ryan Hunter-Reay. They're all kind of on a very different strategy. So does that legitimately put Scott Dixon second? Then Alexander Rossi, Josef Newgarden, and Takuma Sato.
And all of these lead cars on the same strategy, like
Pagenaud. There we go. Rosenquist on the inside of Sato.
Nice move.
Really big move. And who's behind Sato that's next in line to make a move? Sebastian Bourdais.
Big wheel spin by Rosenquist up the hill. And Sato gets back by because of that wheel spin. He lit it up coming up the hill, and Sato took advantage and got that position back.
Well, and guys, just looking at Simon Pagenaud, obviously he's been so strong this weekend. Said this is the most fun he's ever had here at Toronto. Described the car as perfect on Friday, that it's been very versatile. That, of course, helpful with the many surface transitions here on the streets of Toronto. The strategy for he and Kyle Moyer at this point, they're going for wins. Podiums won't do it. Behind him, Scott Dixon in the second position. Kind of a similar situation here. They know they've got points to make up. Asked Mike Cole, the strategist, what makes Scott so good here? He's won here 3 times. He said that's a technical track, and Scott understands the nuances of making a car go fast around here. It's not necessarily a textbook fast lap. It's about being able to adapt on the fly. There's few people in the paddock better at that than Scott Dixon.
Will Power also taking this opportunity to take a gamble. This is one of these danger zone moments. Go ahead and make your pit stop first. They will wait for all the fuel. That's 7.8 for Will Power. Same thing here for Marco Andretti. Once you see someone like Rossi do it, you start to think, wait a minute, do I want to be playing these cards as well?
Yeah, absolutely, Jan, because this is the very beginning of the window, and here he is. Look at that.
And they'll take off, use blacks, put black primaries back on as well for Simon Pagenaud, waiting on the fuel. He's down and away. Scott Dixon in as well, just a few stops ahead. They'll put blacks on him as well. Add Speedway fuel, waiting on that. Dixon down and away is Rosenquist, now the Ganassi teammate to Scott Dixon in. It's busy on pit road right now. Blacks going on for him. Those look like stickers for Felix Rosenquist, waiting on the fuel for him as well. There it is, Rosenquist down and away.
Have to see here how Newgarden blends out with Alexander Rossi.
Rossi's coming through turn 11.
There's Rossi.
Oh, he lost the position, but I think you'll get him in turn 1 without any trouble. The plan there for Rossi was to stop early and hopefully catch a yellow, but everybody else was up on that move and decided to pit the very next lap.
That's how valuable it was for Rossi to stay ahead of Marco Andretti when he came out of the pits to have clean traffic, and Bourdais and his teammate Ferrucci are getting into it.
On the push to pass now, and he's right there. There's a third car in the mix that's right there in the back.
Don't forget, Ferrucci refers to Bourdais as dad. About 20 years separate these two.
Under brakes, turn 3, here comes Rosenquist. He wants a shot at Bourdais as well. It's tight in turn 3. Bourdais will prevail.
Right back, you see Hinchcliffe now trying to make some moves.
Hinchcliffe is on hot tires. He's on his second lap on those black tires.
Ferrucci still needs to make his last stop, as does Graham Rahal, but Bourdais, Rosenquist, and Hinchcliffe all on the same strategy. The problem is Hunter A is fast. His average pace is really good, and don't forget that earlier.
Fuel code 8080.
So now the anxiety builds. Kyle Moyer's giving the fuel number that
Honda.
Chevy is not making the mileage the Hondas are, because these guys pitted on the same lap, and the Chevy, we know from previous races, can't make the mileage of the Honda.
Don't forget the brake temperature issues that Pagenaud had earlier running in traffic. Now he's behind Hunter Ray, and those brake temperatures have to be growing as well.
17 laps to go, this time by. When does Dixon make his move? Problems for Takuma Sato. What a shame.
Oh, he's blown up.
He was running 5th.
Shut her down.
He's in the pit area, so that's not going to cause a yellow flag at all. He's now in the pits, so Dixon's got to keep the pressure on it and push. He's got to push Pagenaud faster than he wants to go for the fuel mileage.
Oh, what a shame for Takuma Sato. Had a really eventful second practice. Hardly did it because of hitting the wall. Then he got caught in a scuffle with Sebastian Bourdais. Running 5th, great race, and now fire has ended his Honda Indy Toronto.
See those Rahal pit crew guys, they don't want the fire, they just want water on that thing. They don't want to have to clean up the mess from all the regular fire extinguisher compound, as Dixon is right there now, probably at this point just kind of studying Pagenaud. He's in a Honda to figure out where he might make a move.
He's in a Honda sandwich, you know. He's got Hunter A backing him up to Dixon. There's absolutely no incentive for Hunter A to let him go by. There's no incentive for Honda to let the Chevy go by in the Honda Toronto Indy.
Yeah, there was almost 2 cautions. Obviously Sato, the most recent, he could have brought out a caution depending on where he was. And coming up here into turn 3, here goes Pagenaud on Ryan Hunter Ray, not close enough. Right here, about 3 laps ago, Sebastian Bourdais nosed into the tire bundle. He was able to keep the car fired up, grab reverse, come back out and keep going.
Here's the Chevy driver update. You see Pagenaud started first, currently first, Powers up 5 positions. This stint has been a disaster for Pagenaud. He now has less push to pass than Dixon. He had a 40-second advantage only about 15 laps ago. This lap traffic has forced him to be on the button.
Hunter Ray is going to pit in 5 laps. 5 laps around the streets of Toronto is an eternity for Pagenaud right now when you have Dixon breathing down the back of your neck.
And just 15 laps to go, this time by.
And as Pagenaud has used push to pass, he has also burned more fuel when he's been trying to also hit a fuel number at the same time. It's gone from totally under control to high anxiety. 15 laps left.
We often talk about Team Penske having phenomenal weekends in IndyCar, Supercar in Australia, and in NASCAR. Well, this could very well be Chip Ganassi's turn to be in the spotlight. Awesome win by Kurt Busch last night in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. And today with Scott Dixon, trying to defend that win a year ago, trying to become a 4-time winner here on the streets of Toronto.
Braking pretty early. You saw Pagenaud from the helicopter view. He's rolling it into the corners, getting off it a little bit early, trying to save fuel, but that allows Dixon to close right in. As we watch here as they come over the start-finish line, you'll see Pagenaud break a little bit early, and Dixon will close that gap up.
Just seems like Pagenaud is a little quicker down the straightaways here. I've been watching this aerial shot, is fantastic for trying to get a judge on whether or not Dixon could make a run going to turn 3, and that Chevy stretches its legs. I remember Friday talking to the Penske guys, and they had the Chevy had the top 5 trap speeds in practice as well.
All right, let's hear from the man who's still in celebration mode from last night, Chip Ganassi. Robin.
All right, Chip. Hell of a victory last night for Kurt Busch on the last couple laps. How did old Dixon catch this guy so quick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It looked like he had a little traffic up front there, and I don't know what happened, but we kind of closed up on him pretty good. We got about 15 to go here. It should be good.
Does he ever cease to amaze you? Does Dixon ever cease to amaze you?
Never. The guy's the Iceman. That's why they call him the Iceman.
You pay him that big money.
We're happy happy with his remuneration. I'm sure he is too.
All right, Chip. We'll see if we have another slam bang finish, Lee Diffie.
Robin, it's looking that way, isn't it? We couldn't ask for it to be better. And you know what? This is just a one-on-one fight. Nobody is even close. Alexander Rossi, there's Spencer Pigot in the turn 3 runoff area.
Been a rough day for Spencer Pigot down in turn 3.
And he got roughed up by his teammate. Let's not forget
his teammates now catching him. That's Ed Jones coming back for another slice of the 21. Is Pagenaud now absolutely under pressure?
Now, Takuma Sato was a man on fire, literally. His car was on fire. He's out of the race. The dramatic turnaround from season 2018 to 2019 is unbelievable for Simon Pagenaud. He only had 2 podiums last year. There were 2 second places, and 1 was right here on the streets of Toronto. Pagenaud's only had 2 podiums this year, but they just so happen to be 2 wins. The Grand Prix of Indianapolis and the Indy 500 couldn't be any better, and Pagenaud's trying to get his 3rd win on the year.
He's using little blips off at turn 11 and turn 2 for like a second or 2. Just stay with you.
Good coaching from Kyle Moyer, strategist on the box.
He's just telling Pagenaud when Dixon is using the button. Dixon is using it sparingly, maybe even less than a second with each push, just little blips to help the car accelerate off the corner with push to pass, but saving every ounce, every millisecond of push to pass for a sprint at the finish.
Pagenaud is having a tough time getting close to the cars in front of him. He could never really get close enough to Hunter Ray, and he's not really close enough for Chilton to just move over and let him go by. He must have a hard time with the aerodynamics on the front to get right up there.
Well, and keep this in mind, Zach Veach is teammates to Alexander Rossi, so maybe Veach can help Rossi close into the hunt for a win or a second place. So a lot going on here in traffic.
Now there's a lot of traffic up front. Sage Karam right there, many laps down. He had an issue in the pits.
Oh, that's going to hurt Dixon.
Now there's a whole line of cars in front of him.
I think he's got a problem because Zach Veach nearly ran into the back of him coming off turn 11. There's something not quite right for Sage Karam in his comeback drive to street and road course racing. There's Pagenaud on Chilton. Chevrolet and Chevrolet. And that rings true to the radio call that Max said he would let you through.
I think Chilton will help Scott Dixon as well. Very close friends. Dixon flew all the way across the pond to go to Max Chilton's wedding. What do you think? Do you think the love carries over?
I think it does. Max is a very good driver. He's a gentleman driver. Everybody gets along with him. I don't think he's going to fight his friend very hard, but
problem is there's no good place to let Dixon by until the front straightaway. And so this has allowed Pagenaud to open that gap up. It was down to about 4/10, and now it's over a second. So these are precious corners for Dixon to try to get by.
With only 4 laps to go.
That allows Rossi to close. Rossi was down to 5 seconds to Dixon. Now it's 3.6.
Oh, big oversteer. Those tires are gone. This is the longest they've run these tires, and that was a big sliding oversteer, wheel spinning.
Here goes Dixon past Chilton, it looks like, and we think Newgarden might have brushed the wall further back.
That would be disastrous for the championship, and he did. He hit that wall hard. Has he bent the toe link? Can he hang on to that car for the rest of these laps?
Shades of last year where Newgarden got into that wall on a restart, and I'll bet Newgarden got a little wide and was in the marbles once again.
Everything seems fine over here.
Everything seems fine from the pit box, but Jan, this is what he did last year when leading Scott Dixon coming to the green, and it prevented him from winning.
He's got a 10-second gap on the next car, so he can cruise at home if it is bent.
Yes, I will tell you that we could actually hear and feel the concussion. We are right across from where that contact was made. That was serious contact. So even though the team is telling him the car, they don't see damage on telemetry, that has got to be damaged with the kind of force and the sound that we heard right across from that area.
There's a big hole in the floor on the right-hand side of Newgarden's car. That floor is split wide open as Pagenaud now clears Zach Veach. Dixon now has to deal with Veach. This is where the traffic gets more aggressive because these guys are all racing for points at the finish here.
That's 2 years in a row Newgarden has hit that wall on the exit of the corner. Can he survive? Will this hurt him in the points?
Good thing he's got on his side pole is there's about 8 seconds between himself and Felix Rosenquist, the next car in line. Dixon continues his pursuit, but he's running out of laps, and he's got to clear this, the Gainbridge Honda of Zach Veach. to even have a shot at Simon Pagenaud.
Really a great view. I love this because you can appreciate how precise Scott Dixon is, even at the end of the tire stint. Look at how he's able to clip the apexes just perfectly. A lot of guys starting to slide
blue
wide.
light, the blue light will come on, ignore it. You got to hit your number.
Still worried about fuel. Ed Jones, a Chevy car, lets him through, but they are still worried about fuel. 2 laps to go.
I think that was Ziggy Harkis talking to Zach Veach about fuel is my guess. Or was that Kyle Moyer?
That was Kyle Moyer's voice. Even though they're clear of this traffic, they've still got to hit a fuel number.
Boy, you know it's close then. You know it's close. Final 2 laps.
So that's Kyle Moyer saying the blue light, meaning the low fuel light, is going to come on, assuring his driver that he's going to be fine regardless. White flag this time by.
Less than 2 miles to run for Simon Pagenaud to get his 3rd win of the season, his first ever here at Toronto. White is out.
Okay, 1 more lap here. 1 more lap. Have to hit the number.
He's still got to hit the number. Can he make it all the way around? He comes on to the
You're doing awesome here.
Does he have the fuel to make it to the end?
Well, he can at least take a small breath knowing that there's a car buffering him as Ed Jones nicely lets Dixon by.
Will Power into the tires.
Not good, and he's going to be stuck. Maybe. Boy, that's an authority in reverse. I've never seen that.
That will break a gear in reverse, and that's right by the last couple of corners. Will that be an issue as we come down to the end? They're 1 corner away from full course yellow.
Full course yellow.
He's still on the tires. Turn right, stay to the right.
Everybody got to take it easy.
Pagenaud's going to be saying thank you very much, Will Power.
Wow. And that is the 2nd incident in the same corner for Will Power in this race, after working his way unbelievably up into the top 10. So the race will finish as it is.
Great job.
Checkered flag out from pole position to victory lane. Simon Pagenaud wins in Toronto for the very first time. And Dixon says, well done, that was a great fight. And the championship now closes tighter and tighter. Pagenaud comes from 60 points out to just 39. And the captain has done it again here in Toronto.
And Rossi closes to Newgarden just 4 points behind. That's what we want as we close the season, to see it tighten up with more players in the mix. And Pagenaud, if he keeps driving like this, Paul, he'll absolutely factor into the championship.
Smooth and steady all day. His teammates banging the walls and in the tires. Perfect drive by the Frenchman today.
And Dylan Welsh is standing by.
Well, and it has capped off a near perfect weekend for the Frenchman, as you guys alluded to on Bastille Day. And he's going to go and give a congratulations to this crew, and that is much deserved because they gave him a car that he said was perfect on Friday and showed no signs of anything different all afternoon long here over the course of 85 laps. And it'll cap off his 3rd win of the year, and first, of course, since sweeping the month of May at Indianapolis. And we'll get in here. And Simon, no, you're good.
They deserve a lot, these guys, you know?
Do.
They make it happen. So.
They do. Well, so, okay, so you're running out of fuel, or you're close to running out of fuel there. Kyle's telling you you've got to save. What's the nerves like inside the helmet there in those closing laps?
Never easy with the lap traffic. It was really difficult because I was trying to just pass them, and then I saw Hunter Ray made it difficult. So they're fighting for the lap. I get it. So I just backed myself up and tried to, give myself a gap with Dixon for turn 3 while saving fuel. So not the way I love to race, but Chevy did a great job at giving us an update this weekend, and it really paid off. And obviously on the fuel it was tremendous. So car was plenty fast all day. We never really got in trouble with anyone. So I'm just delighted. That was a pure perfect execution from the Penske team.
As good as the car was, as good as you said it was this whole weekend, going into today, was there pressure to deliver a win, or were you just that confident you'd be able to deliver one?
No, I was confident all weekend. I never had a doubt, and we were only focused on ourselves. I never really looked who was behind. We just focused on getting the car we wanted to be, and man, those days are the best. I tell you what, there are a lot of bad days in racing, but those sweet days, man, they make up for it.
Where's the boss at here? I heard there he is right there, the captain.
Watch the Iowa 300 Saturday, July 20th at 7 p.m. on NBCSN.